right, thank you, David. How's everyone doing today? All right, can I get an NYZ? Awesome, beautiful. My name is Gary Davisson. I'm a sophomore here at Mizzou. I'm studying business management. And I'm going to be telling you about my entrepreneur journey, all the businesses I've started, all the mistakes I've made, all the lessons I've learned. But first, I'd like to start off by telling you a little bit more about me. So, like I said, I am a sophomore here at Mizzou. I'm 19 years old. I enjoy spending my free time reading books, flying my drone. That's my baby right there. She's a DJI Mavic 2. I fly it all around campus, so if you see it, it's probably me. And I enjoy playing soccer with my friends, and I'm also the president of CEO, which is an entrepreneur club here at Mizzou. Got my fellow CEO members right there. Thank you guys for coming. But yeah, my hometown's Maryland, and I grew up in Kansas City, so that's a little bit more about me. So let's go ahead and get started with my entrepreneur journey, and it starts with goals. It starts with goals. Goals are very, very important to me, and you may be asking, why are they so important? Well, I have 5 reasons for you why they're important. Number 1, goals trigger behavior. Number 2, goals guide your focus. Number 3, goals sustain momentum. Number 4, goals align your focus. And number 5, goal setting helps with self-mastery. My entire life, whether I wanted to start a business or whether I wanted to get something, it always started with a goal. I had a goal in mind and I wanted to achieve that goal. And for me, when I set a goal, I break that goal down. So as soon as I set it, I break it down in months, days, and just make sure that I'm achieving it every single day, so that way by the end of the year, I've achieved that goal. So you may be asking yourself, what's my goal right now? Well, I'll tell you. Right now, my goal is to buy an Audi R8. This is my dream car. It's a sports car. It's an Audi R8 V10 Plus. I rented one for my 18th birthday in Las Vegas. I know you may be thinking I'm about 3 years late on that, I know. But I wanted to celebrate my birthday by driving one of my dream cars. So I was like, hey Dad, we gotta go down to Vegas. We have to have a good time. So I rented that for $800 a day and drove it through the canyons. And I'll never forget the memories that I made that day. Well, let's flash back. Let's step back and see what my very first goal was. And it was an iPod Touch. I wanted an iPod Touch in elementary school. Like, every cool kid had it. I was the only one that didn't, so that meant I was a loser. And I could not be a loser. So I went up to my mom and I was like, Mom, please, please let me have an iPod Touch. But no. She said no to me. I was like, are you kidding me? I'm your child, Mom. I'm your blood. Like, come on now. And then I went to my dad. I was like, Dad, can you buy this iPod Touch for me? And he said no as well. So I was at this time, I was like, man, like, what's wrong with me? Like, what's wrong? I don't know, am I ugly or something? Like, my parents did not love me. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to figure out how I can get this on my own. So I set the goal back in 2009, May 2009, buy an iPod Touch. I started Gary's Hydration Station in June 2009. And that was the start of everything. So I just started grabbing Gatorades and everything that my mom bought for me in the refrigerator, and I just took that to the neighborhood pool. And I would sell my lemonade at the neighborhood pool, and that's how things got started for me. And it went really well. In August of 2009, I bought that iPod Touch, and as like a cool little reminder, on the back I had it engraved. It said, Gary Davisson rocks. And I was like, it's true. So I was like, yeah, let's go. So every time I listened to my music, I would just flip to the back, make sure I reminded myself, oh yeah, I rock, and then I would just, play games. So, and then October 2009, I started to look for new goals. So I was like, all right, if I can afford the iPod Touch, what can I do next? So I wanted a bike, and this is not your ordinary bike. This is a Cannondale mountain bike. Okay, if you look these up right now, brand new, they're about $5,000. And it's basically like the Lamborghini of bikes. And for some reason at 10 years old, I wanted one. I don't know why, I just really liked the colors, I liked the way it looked, I thought it was badass, and I was like, all right, I want this thing. So I set out to figure out a plan to get to it. So I had saved up a few $100s from the lemonade stand, but I needed something new. I needed something unique. And back in October of 2010, I started a pumpkin pickup business. And this has never been done before. I was the very first kid to come up with this idea, and I called it Gary's Pumpkin Pickup. So what happened is my mom, after Halloween and all the pumpkins were starting to get rotten and moldy, and they're like, Gary, you're free, right? I'm like, sure. Yeah, we need to take those pumpkins and put it in the backyard in the forest. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, that pumpkin's gross, yucky. Like, I don't want to do that. And it's like, you're my son. You have to do that. I'm okay. All right, I'll do it. I come back. I'm like, can you like pay me anything? Because like I like getting paid to do things. And she's like, no, you're my son. I'm like, okay. But then I went to my neighbor and I was like, hey, can I take your pumpkin for like 50 cents? And they gave me $1. I was like, $1? Like, you gave me $1 just to take that pumpkin and put it in my cart and bring it to the backyard and throw it in the woods? So from that house, I went down my entire street, door to door, getting rotten pumpkins, and I made like $50 in an hour at 10 years old. So I was like, okay, I'm on to something here. And I continued to do that, and I saved up money. I made a few $100s, and then I bought my bike in November 2010. And between this and the next business I started when I was 12 years old, I just continued to do the pumpkin pickup business. And in the first year, I made like $200. In the second year, 2011, I made $500 doing pumpkin pickup. And then my third year, I made over $1,000 in the span of a month and a half picking up pumpkins. Like, I was known as the pumpkin king at school. Like, kids would text me like the biggest pumpkin in the world that weighed 2,000 pounds, and they're like, how much for this pumpkin? And I'm like, nice. Like, they would just like make fun of me, but I was making money with pumpkins, so I couldn't complain. So the new goal that I set in December 2010 was to have $10,000. Okay, $10,000, like I thought that was so cool. If you look at like the wristband that wraps the 10,000, it's like orange, goldish. So I went to the bank. I didn't have $10,000, but I asked for one of those bands. And I took that band that they gave me and I stuck it up in my room above my desk. And I was like, one day I will have enough $100 bills that I can take this band and wrap it around all of them. And that became possible with my lawn care business. So one of the lessons that I learned from the lawn care business is that time is precious and you need to delegate your work as soon as possible. The other two lessons that I learned with the other businesses, with the hydration station, was that I need to set a goal. Without setting a goal, you don't really know where you're headed. And then the second goal that I learned with Gary's Pumpkin Pickup is that every no is one step closer to a yes. I got told no constantly when I was going door to door as like a young kid. Like I said, I thought there was something wrong with me, but that's just part of the game. You're going to be told no in class, like school, business, and life, but you need to keep on pushing on because you're one step closer to a yes, and that's what my dad told me. So back to this business, Gary's Lawn Services. Started this when I was 12 years old. This is a picture of when it was like popping, and this is what I'm known for is my lawn care company. So we'll just dive into stage one. This was the push mower that I had. I called her Bertha because she was like old and reliable. And I just borrowed this from my parents. And with the money I had saved up from the pumpkin pickup with the hydration station, I was able to buy a trimmer, a blower attachment. And I would literally take all these items and I would go and walk up the hill and walk up like these huge hills, walk like a mile, just making trips back and forth. And I would be able to put gas cans and trimmer stacked all on top of that mower and just like push it around. And I was hustling quite a bit at 12. And I had 5 yards from going door to door, passing out flyers. I charged $25 per yard. And at 12 years old, I was making $125 a week. So let's go to stage two. Stage two, I was 13 years old. I had saved up quite a bit of money. And I was mowing about 15 yards a week. And I bought this mower. This mower saved my life. Like I was finally able to tow a trailer. I painted that metal trailer with my dad and had the logos and everything stickered on. That's my phone number. Ladies, hit me up if you want. But yeah, so I got that number there, and that was stage two. So stage 3, this is where things like just blew up. Like you can see how happy I am. I was like, let's go, like life is good, I'm making a lot of money and I'm 16, like, oh, I was so happy. And I was finally able to buy a truck. And that was huge because in the beginning, I had a competitor. And when I started, I was only 12, and when he started, he was 16. So he had this big truck. He was like, ah, Gary, you're like pushing that push button, you'll never get up to my size. And I just continued to go and persevere, and I ended up buying a truck when I was 16. And I actually did so well at that stage that I actually bought a second truck. And in this time period, I invested over $40,000 back into my lawn care business. I had a website developed, and I was working my ass off. Like none of this stuff was given to me. I was working 40 hours a week on top of school. I was maintaining a 3.9 GPA because school is important to me. And I also hired multiple employees. So I hired my first employee when I was 16, and that's a little weird, you know, being the boss of someone that's like 35, and I was 16. So that taught me a lot right there as well. And then, yeah, just to sum it all up, life was really good. Now, in the beginning, I talked about how I made mistakes, and these are some of the biggest mistakes that were made, and for some reason, they all happened on the same day. So I told my employee to go mow yards and take care of yards for me, and he did. But I was sleeping in, and I just, you know, get a phone call. I'm like, oh, there's a phone. Hello? Gary, this is Gary with Gary's Lawn Services. How may I help you? Oh, hey, Gary. It's Matt. What up, Matt? You know that truck that you bought me? Yeah, I do. I crashed it. Boom. I woke up so fast. I've never woken up faster in my life. I was like, what the F? Like, I was like, holy crap. Like, I was just blown away. He crashed my truck. I was so disappointed, but I wasn't just gonna sit in my bed and cry all day. I had to go back, make enough money to buy another truck. So I went back out, I mowed the yards that I needed to get mowed, and on the last yard, this is what he does with my mower. It causes $500 worth of damage to the deck. And at this point, I'm like, okay, I've lost $6,000. I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna fire him. Like, I'm gonna do that Donald Trump thing where, you're fired! Like, I'm just gonna look at him and be like, you're fired. But I kept it in, I kept it all in, and I just played it cool and continued to move on. So here's a picture of my trailers. I have a truck, a trailer. I had another truck until he crashed it, but that's what one of the trailers looked like, and that's what the other trailer looked like. And that truck and trailer, that's a 7x16 trailer. I would drive that to high school every single day. People thought I was like a lawn care company for the school. They're like, have you seen Gary's Lawn Services? Like, why is that company always here? And they never knew that it was actually a kid inside the school. Like, some people knew, but not everyone. And I would drive that to school every single day. It wasn't really a shake magnet, but, you know, it made me money. So that's what my stuff looked like. Stage 4, everything was reaching a peak. I had 72 yards, $40 a yard. I was making $2,880 a week gross. And life was amazing. And that's all of my equipment there. I had multiple mowers, multiple trimmers, blowers, gas cans. I was on top of the world. That day I took the most pictures I've ever taken on my phone. I took like probably 100 pictures right there. I was just so happy. And then in the corner here is a picture. I ended up selling the business before I moved to college, and I surrounded the check with $100 bills because I thought it was cool. All right, here's some more lessons that I learned. You need to turn negatives into positives, okay? A good example of this is when my parents got divorced. I was like, damn, like, my parents got divorced. Then my business mind kicked in, and I was like, hey, Gary, now you have 2 places to run your business. And I was like, oh yeah, let's do that. So like, my parents got divorced at like 13, so I bought a push mower at my dad's house and my mom's house, and I ran my business out of 2 different locations. So always turn negatives into positives if you can. And then take care of the customers that have been with you since the beginning. I started to lose focus of my long-term clients that have been with me since the beginning, and they started to drop off, and that was a huge mistake. So always take care of the people that support you in the beginning. Never quit, even when things start getting difficult. You guys saw that I lost $6,000 in a day. I could have quit, I could have just said, I'm done, but I continued to persevere, and it worked out. And if you want success, you're going to have to work your ass off. There's no sugarcoating it. Like, you have to wake up, you have to go, get things done, make it happen. All right, things I would have done differently. I wanted to do more digital marketing. I didn't do that early on. I wanted to have more of an online presence sooner. and spend more time screening and training employees. Like, I put my jobs up on Craigslist, and I didn't get the best applicants, so don't do that. But I would have done a better job hiring employees. And then delegate work as soon as possible, so that way you can have more free time to spend with your friends and family. What motivated me? So I have three big motivators in my life: my parents, my cousin Jerry, and my goals. So my parents, like my dad always said, every no is one step closer to a yes. They were there for me, they supported me. If I needed like a gas can, they would drive up a gas can and help me out, so that was very supportive. And then my cousin Jerry, he's a very successful entrepreneur, and I think he's what motivated me to start a business the most. Back when I was like 12 or 13 years old, he bought an Audi R8, and it was brand new, it was so pretty. He gave me a ride to middle school, everyone looked, I felt like a superstar. And from that day on, I was like, okay, I need one of these cars now one day. And then my goals. I've been setting goals since I was 9 years old, and it's something I'm always chasing. And this bottom point right here is a Lamborghini Huracan. My cousin bought that a few years ago, and I was able to drive it, and it's an amazing car. So that's also a future goal of mine. So 3 takeaways: make sure you have supporters, mentors, and goals. And not just any ordinary goals, you want SMART goals. They need to be specific, measurable, attainable, and relevant and time-based. So make sure that you set all that for your goal. Like I said with my goal, I make sure that I time it out, I plan it out, I know what I'm shooting for, I know what I need to make that day, I know what I need to make that week. So make sure it's very measurable. What's next for me? I want to buy my first rental property in the next year from Rich Dad Poor Dad. I want to build that financial freedom. You guys know what I mean if you read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Growing my personal brand with YouTube. I'm going to start vlogging, so make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and have that. And then buying an Audi R8 on my 21st birthday. I want to go back to Las Vegas and drive on the same roads as I drove that Audi R8 the first time. And then I'm also going to be starting a new company called Mow and Mentor, where I'm going to help 100 kids start businesses. And then I want to grow my current lawn care company in Columbia. It's called Trusted Lawn and Landscape. Right now I'm mowing 20 yards, and I want to go to 50 weekly. And also I want to help 10 homeless people. So this year, I was walking down the streets of Columbia on Broadway, and I saw a homeless man. And instead of giving him money, I offered him a job. And within 1 month, I transformed his life. He was living underneath a bridge, and I picked him up every weekend. I gave him lunch, and I gave him nice clothes, and I helped him prepare a resume. I drove him to interviews, and in a matter of 3 weeks, he had a part-time job. He got nice clothes, I fed him every weekend, and now he has a place to live and has a job. So I want to do that for 10 people, 10 homeless people in Columbia next year. Here's a quote that I like a lot that I would kind of wrap things up on. The only impossible journey is the one you never began. None of this would have happened if I never took that first step and started my lemonade stand. So if you have something that you want to start, go ahead and start it today. Don't wait another day. Everyone in this room is super young. There's no age limit to starting a business, and I encourage you to start now. Here's a picture, here's a slide of my contact information, so if you want to take a picture of it, get in touch with me, feel free to do that.